The following program does not have a normal intro because I was really too busy smoothing other things over to get it done. So, sorry. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I'm your host, Joe Neerman, aka Good Lawgic. Happy Spring Day. Yes, happy Spring Day. I know a lot of you are going to say, no, Joe. No, spring started this year on March 19th, not March 20th. No, 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 nope, 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 nope. Everyone knows the whole autumnal vernal equinox, always on 21st, longest day of the year, June 21st, shortest day, December 21st. 21st. I don't care about your freaking February 29th. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Okay. Happy Spring Day. Spring. That's it. Okay. Happy Spring Day. Everyone's got to be difficult. Kind of. I have so much to cover. Speaking of events related to weather and time. Speaking of which, somebody dropped this in my box, asking me my thoughts about a forthcoming solar eclipse that is scheduled to hit planet Earth on April 8th, 2024. That apparently people have been prepping for years in anticipation of some terrible terrorist type of activity, bio-warfare, some type of event, some calamitous event that is supposedly in danger of occurring during the solar eclipse, and asked me my thoughts on it. Joe, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? I'm not going to go through the entire thing here. This is a 13-minute video. 13-minute video. I'm not going through the whole 13 minutes. Nope, not doing that. Just going to go through a few minutes so you can understand that I didn't make this up. You would think I'm making this up. I did not forget Rumble. Did I forget Rumble? Oh, that's totally possible. Oh, because I was late and I didn't schedule. Mother. I'll hit Rumble right now. They're never going to forgive me. Is it going on Rumble? Is it going on Rumble now? Did I take care of Rumble? Are we good? Let me refresh this. Why is this not working now? It should be working now. I'm refreshing. And the stupid intro. Good. All right. There. Okay. Hi, Rumble people. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. This was my fault. It was totally my boomerism. I was late today trying to get everything just all glommed in. And normally I set the Rumble stream up. And this time I was like, I'm running out of time before the 9:30 deadline. I have to get in 30 minutes beforehand. Otherwise, no notices go out. I'll take care of a Rumble afterwards. And I created the Rumble stream. And then I was changing the thumbnail picture because I didn't like it. I'm very dissatisfied. Today's thumbnail picture is below par. And invariably, when I have a thumbnail picture that's below par, the content of the show just goes up by like 4 or 5 notches. I don't know how that works, but there is an inverse relationship between the quality, the chef's kiss quality. I don't know if it's inverse, not precisely inverse. But what I'm saying is there's no correlation between the quality of the thumbnail and the quality of the show that ends up being produced. And I'm saying this as someone who's very critical of my own work, not in a way that I'm like, oh, I'm depressed about it. I'm just like, I could have done that better. I wish I would have thought of that. Versus shows that I was like, zing. Oh, that was good. That was good. That was what I was looking to do. Like when I started doing this, that was what I was looking to look like that. So yeah, I found that when I have like thumbnails, I'm like, this looks like my a 6-year-old made this. This looks terrible. This is so bad. Anyway, so I was very dissatisfied with the whole thumbnail situation. And I was frantically trying to just get everything like all sorted on the thumbnail thing. And so I set up the Rumble stream, and then I'm working on the thumbnail, and I'm working on this, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway. And then I'm getting my notices out, and then I'm trying to set up my links, and everything is it was a madhouse. It was a madhouse. It was crazy. So to you Rumble people, I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry. That was bad. Bad job me. Bad job me. Anyhow. Love having spring sprung on us. Very Springsteen. You could do better. They are shutting down my law school for April 8th because of the eclipse. I've circulated a petition for a prorated refund of our tuition. It says, much luck of working as Fanny recusing. Yeah, I don't think that's really going to do much. Let's see what this guy has to say about this. I didn't know anything about. I didn't even know an eclipse was coming until someone shared this with me. So, much less that there's some sort of terrorist activity that's around the corner. Oh no, here it comes! Watch out for the terrorists! The terrorists are coming after us! Oh no!
The sheriff called me yesterday.
Because that's what sheriffs do.
And after he got done telling me everything inside this meeting that was happening, I pretty much was nerve rattled after what I heard. But I'm going to tell you what the emergency, what's behind this emergency.
Tell us faster.
The solar eclipse, what's the deeper intel. And not only that, how they want emergency communication systems to be implemented, what specific groups they're going to be targeting. We're about to get into all that right here. Information that I did separate research to try to link up and confirm more on this scenario. So he gets on the phone with me yesterday after they have this meeting.
Okay.
Who's this meeting with? It's with Homeland Security.
Seriously. So like a minute into this video, and all we know is it was a phone call with the sheriff and Homeland Security.
I have a list right here. I took notes of every single thing that he said because I couldn't record his voice. Obviously, he's trying to stay discreet. He said they were focusing on anti-vaccine people, anti-government people, preppers, Trump supporters. He even goes into deeper in the scenario what we're going to get to here in a second. But he said they didn't want the public to have any communication between each other. Any communication at all. And we told you yesterday that sheriff that came out and said it could be a potential terror attack. Well, we got more intel on what could actually happen in the solar eclipse, but just listen to this 23-second clip really quick.
But that's not all that he's concerned about.
That people want to do us harm, use an event like this where a lot of people are gathered to do some type of terror event.
The director of the Lake County Emergency Management Agency told me they've been preparing for the solar eclipse now for about 2 years.
They've been preparing for this for 2 years. Imagine that, for 2 years. That sounds like a lot of preparation going into that.
True.
In the video yesterday, I told you the military is getting into a building that they won an Allied war in World War II, which is Idabel, which you can find that video after this video. But let's get into this right now. So
I don't even know what he's talking about.
Any communications between us.
I'm very, very confused. I don't know if this is if this is a terror attack. This is an attack on MAGA. I don't even know what's happening here. Who's doing this terror? Who's the they? Is this enemies foreign or domestic? What the hell are we talking about here? I'm so confused from this.
And what is the big event that they're doing? This is what he told me inside of Homeland Security yesterday they were talking about. He said, during the solar eclipse, while people are all out there looking, they're planning, the intel that they've got is a possible biological attack on people while the solar eclipse is freaking happening.
Okay, well, is this against MAGA? I thought this is against MAGA. This is against Trump supporters or anti-vax. What is this about? I don't even know what this is about. But now it's so. What are they gonna? They're gonna bait MAGA specifically to go out and look at the eclipse. Is that what this whole eclipse? I'm so confused.
Yes, I just said that while the solar eclipse is happening, and you're like, okay, well, where are they gonna do that? Well, all the people out for the solar eclipse, I'm potentially believing could be targets. Okay, so this is not speculation.
No, it is speculation.
Totally inside information about what they said.
It's not totally inside information. This is craziness.
They're talking about how the first responders' mental health, they need to prepare because their mental health is going to be very, very, out of whack after this. So when he told me that they potentially might be doing a biological attack, that's the intel. Who's going to be doing it? I don't know. But however, I looked deeper, and then I seen that 3 weeks ago, none of us was paying attention to the fact that the FBI just had a training drill for a biological attack, and they're getting hospitals ready for it. So I want you to look at this video clip real quick and just look at what we all missed and how this lines up with the agenda.
What agenda? It's like, okay, stop. Just stop. And now he's going to go through this whole here.
At multiple local hospitals are now better prepared to handle a potential emergency. The FBI spent time in 3 ERs today in our area, walking doctors, nurses, and other staff through what they could do in case of a bioterrorism disaster. 11.
Okay, you would think that they should be prepared for that.
News reporter Elmer Mejia Segastumi is joining me live from Penrose Hospital.
Whether or not there's an eclipse coming.
An agent with the FBI told you that disasters like these help improve communications, or disaster exercises, I should say, help improve communication.
All right, anyhow, those of you who have concerns about the eclipse, those of you who have concerns about some sort of biological terror weapon that's going to be aimed at MAGA or Trump supporters or anti-vaxxers or stuff like that, this is what I'm going to say to you, okay? This is my thoughts on it, okay? My suggestion to you. Get off of the internet. You've been here too long. You need sometimes just put your phone down, turn it off, go outside, go for a jog, clear your head, and just stop. Just stop. You spent way too long staring at your phone, reading QAnon or whatever, and there's trust the plan, and there's the Kraken, and all this. You need to just stop. There's all these buzzwords coming out here. I mean, craziness. Just stop. I mean, ask yourself this, and just pause, okay? Just think to yourself this. If it was a matter of, okay, they're waiting until we're all herded together, so they can unleash a bioweapon. You'd think every year they get a pretty good 3-hour window there, 4.5-hour window there during an event called the Super Bowl. Maybe? I don't know. You don't need to sit there waiting for Mother Nature to drop a solar eclipse on you if you want to see large gatherings of folks all over the country. This is not, I mean, come on. And if you ever hear about bioweapons and in the same context of anti-vaxxers and MAGA or whatever, I'm telling you now, if you're swallowing it, get off of the internet and just walk away, because you need to sort of chill. It's gonna be okay. Shh. They're there now. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right. You'll be all right. Maybe get a nice nap. Do some working out. Put down the ho-hos. Get a little fitter. Maybe do some dancing. Trust me, you'll be happier. Don't let grifters take advantage of you like that. Don't. Okay? God. I don't even know what this means. You keep saying that over and over again. And if you do it one more time, I'm going to have to label that spamming. So stop. Okay? Just stop. chill, just chill. God. All right. So that's just one thing I wanted to just get out of the way. Chill. All right. Next up. That's one thing down. Where should we go next? I got a couple more. Oh, hold on. Carly Russell skirts jail time after blaming Alabama kidnapping hoax on emotional issues and stress. New York Post, 2 tiers of justice. Yeah. It's a good time to be black. It's a good time to be black. Plus, whatever happens anyway in life, we have no control, higher power. Yeah, that's true too. That's definitely true. 100%. All right. Let's talk a little bit. I don't want to knock off this first story here because the Trump VP thing, I think is what I want to go to next. That's what I want to go to next. Where are you? That wasn't it. Nope. Here we go. So I've been hearing talk about Trump and his whole VP choice thing. Everyone's very, very into who's going to be Trump's VP. And there's certain people I've said, I was like, if he goes Nikki Haley, I'm just going to stop talking about the election. I'm going to be like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to, I'm telling you now, if he names Haley as his running mate, I'm not going to tell you anyone vote against him. I'm done with this election. I'm stepping out. I'm done with it. I cannot support a Trump Haley ticket. I can't. Anyhow, there's a lot of thoughts about who it is that he's looking at, and here's some people he's been ruling out. One name that came out this week that he's ruling out is a name a lot of people wanted, and that was Vivek Ramaswamy. A new report from Bloomberg has revealed President Trump has ruled out former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy as a VP pick, which this should not be surprising. The reason it shouldn't be surprising is because his star shines too brightly to be standing next to Trump. And I don't mean that as far as him being something like other than he has a capacity to be electrifying in a way that I think Trump feels like diminishes his own brightness, if that makes sense. He doesn't want to have a superstar or a potential superstar who's younger than him standing next to him. He just doesn't. That's just the nature of the beast. I also don't know that sitting as vice president would really be optimal for Vivek anyway. I think there are other positions that he might be actually able to accomplish a great deal more. I would be much happier with him being chief of staff for Trump than VP, where he's actually helping Trump sort through policies. Now, maybe Vivek wants to have more limelight and attention in anticipation of a run in 2028. That's definitely possible. We all should expect that. Obviously, he's going to run it again in 2028. He ran in 24. Why wouldn't you run in 28 if you're running 24? So he clearly has presidential aspirations. So, and being vice president is really not a green light to get into the Oval Office. Who's the last vice president to make that transition from vice president to president? Was it George Herbert Walker in 1989? I mean, it's been like nearly 4 decades. And by the time we get to the next election, it'll be 4 decades since that actually worked. So, yeah, I don't think that that's necessarily a winning strategy to become vice president in order to ascend to the presidency. And there are a lot of better ways that can happen. So, that's hold on one moment, please. I'm sorry. Anyhow, so getting back to this report, the report that Trump personally told Ramaswamy he wouldn't be his vice president pick. Trump, however, did not rule out the entrepreneur for a possible cabinet position. The report comes just days after reports surfaced that Trump is no longer considering Governor Kristi Noem and Senator Tim Scott as VP nominees. I'm very happy he knocked those both off. I didn't trust either of them. I didn't trust Kristi Noem. I didn't trust Tim Scott. Here's what Bloomberg reported. Trump has ruled out Ramaswamy as running mate, as instead eyeing the entrepreneur for cabinet job. According to people familiar with the matter, as a Republican presidential nominee sizes up a possible administration. Trump personally told Ramaswamy he won't be his vice presidential pick, according to people briefed on the discussion, but is considering him for posts including Homeland Security Secretary. That'd be good. I like that. I like that. Some Trump allies see Ramaswamy as ideal for the job because they say he excels at public speaking and, as an Indian American son of an immigrant, can neutralize criticism of sweeping immigration restrictions. That makes sense. They're good. They're better optics when you have, someone who's got darker skin overseeing Homeland Security. Conversation is just one of many Trump has had recently with allies about administration positions as he sees hold of the Republican nomination. Loyalty, ideological compatibility, and perceived electoral power are the metrics by which Trump is evaluating possible picks, according to people familiar with the process who spoke on the condition of anonymity. Those who have impressed Trump and his team for possible cabinet roles include another former GOP primary foe, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, as well as Representative Lisa Stefanik, former U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer. Now, I don't know anything about Robert Lighthizer. I don't know. I didn't even know that's a real person. Okay, so I'm not going to kid you on that. I am familiar with Doug Burgum. You might recall him from the election debates that he was in the presidential election debates. He is someone who you may recall just has those crazy eyebrows, like white hair and dark eyebrows that are just everywhere. So, North Dakota governor who actually on the stage in answering questions seemed pretty based. He seemed pretty based. He seemed like someone who kind of, every time he spoke, I was like, wow, I kind of like this guy. So Doug Burgum, as far as his policies, yeah, I can definitely see getting behind that. That's much better than any of these other names in this, and much better than Elise Stefanik. Much better than that. Another name that came out today as a potential running mate is someone who's relatively new to Congress, and another, I would say, sort of electric up-and-comer in the GOP, and that's J.D. Vance. So Ohio Senator J.D. Vance has entered the conversation as a potential who talks a good MAGA game. A lot of people say that they don't trust his politics. He's certainly a very intelligent man, very intelligent, like a really smart guy, J.D. Vance. So would I be okay with him? He's also, I would say, better than, as far as like ranking their politics, my personal perspective on them is ranking their politics. I think that I would sort of put Burgum, Vivek, and Vance in the same general categories. Various advantages to each of them and disadvantages. The disadvantages on Burgum is he kind of looks creepy. And I know that sounds like a shallow way to judge someone and their political aspirations. I'll bring up a picture. This is not like I'm not saying anything. I don't know. I think he's a self-made man also. These pictures, he actually doesn't look as creepy as I remember him being. I don't know. There's something to me that's the dark eyebrows. He actually looks a lot more normal in these pictures than I remember him looking on the stage. I don't know. And like I said, I know that's shallow. But you can't ignore the shallowness of the voter. I mean, come on. You can't ignore the shallowness of the voter. You can't. It's just a reality. I mean, ask yourself, when is the last time someone who was genuinely unappealing looking, like someone who, when you look at them, that people will be like, that they tend not to win. They tend not to win very, very high office. It happens occasionally. Like if you go through the presidents of the last 40 years, I know, like, you know, that at least their facial features, every one of them looks like someone who's like, yeah, I could see that in his, you know, in his youth, he probably was someone who was pretty popular. You can definitely see it, right? I don't know. That's just I'm just being realistic. I'm being realistic. So yeah, JD Vance has entered the conversation. I want to bring that up here. I saw an article on that. JD Vance, where are you? I'm not seeing it here. Anyway, I am curious about your thoughts on it, though. From those people who are available, potentially available, which of them do you think would be best? I'm going to make a little poll here because I can, and it's been a while. So let's just. I'm going to make a little. Whoa, that got. All right. Sorry about that. Start a poll. So I'm going to say the three names that are up there that are now being talked about. JD Vance, Burgum, he's the North Dakota governor, Stefanik or other. The obvious advantage Elise has is the whole, you know, women's vote thing. I don't know if that helps at all. Maybe it does. I'll have other. Marco Rubio was released earlier. It was released today. Marco Rubio. I don't think he's going to consider Tulsi. I don't think he's going to consider Tulsi at all. Did you look into religious freedom issues in Minnesota? I did not. I'm being honest with you. But I'm going to pull it up now because this is a little bit of a religious freedom. I'm feeling, now you make me feel all guilty. Yeah, I'm seeing it. I don't think I can get into that now, though. I see it. I mean, just what you were asking about, Gopher, is this right here? House committee meeting in February 29 became clear that some Minnesota legislators not only do not respect religious beliefs, but they will also no longer tolerate them. And they're considering amendments to the Minnesota Human Rights Act has been placed since 1960s. Serves the purpose of ensuring that all Minnesotans are treated as equals and that no one is discriminated against based on personal traits, including race, disability, religion, sex, and others. In 93, 2 major changes were adopted. 1, sexual orientation was added, and 2, an exemption for religious organizations was added to allow them to act in accordance with their religious beliefs regarding sexual orientation. Minnesota Catholic Conference not opposes because it's meant to be a shield against discrimination for all persons. I can't get into this right now. Maybe later. We'll see. We'll see. I'm sorry. Can you please do that whole stop for a transplant from Atlanta to Atlanta from Connecticut? What am I supposed to stop? I don't even know what that means. Izzy, I don't even know what this. What am I supposed to say? Stop. I'll tell you right now, you're moving further south in this country. That's probably a good thing. I wouldn't say stop to that. What am I supposed to say stop to? I don't even know. I don't even understand this. I'm so confused. I'm very, very confused. Joe, how can we explain major cell interruption in northern New Jersey 2 times in the last month? Really? I'm here. I didn't notice anything. Chuz is their game. CHOS is their game. I expect something before the election. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Nothing. I don't know anything about that. Sorry. Do our tunnels have escalators? No. Warren says it's Tim Scott is VP. Burns says that. Sebastian Gorka says it's what's that guy? Lee Zeldin? I don't think either of them are right. I could be wrong. Who knows? I really don't want Tim Scott. I don't like Tim Scott. I do not like Tim Scott. Tim Scott to me is like a black Nikki Haley. Not quite as bad, not quite as repugnant. You know, Nikki's in a class all her own, but I really don't like Tim Scott. This guy he's got Uniparty written all over him. I don't see cameras is my bet. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I would love to see him overseeing Homeland Security. You see how important that is with the way Mayorkas is running everything. Let's face it, Trump's not going to sit there on top of these people day and night. He's not going to be doing that. He's not going to be doing that. So you want people overseeing these things who are going to be effectuating policy that's actually beneficial to America. So I think you want to put Ramaswamy in charge of the border? I say do it. Do it. Do it. God bless. As opposed to him being what? The 51st vote in the Senate? Really? Like, I mean, what the hell is that? What is that? Would it be entertaining? I mean, entertaining like heck to see him debating Kamala in the vice presidential debate? Yes. Yes. That would be exceptional. That would be fun. That'd be fun to watch. But yeah, that one night of him sitting there debating her is not worth him basically being a figurehead for the next 4 years. So yeah, I'm really okay with that. I'm really okay with that. Trump will pick Ladybug. Oh God, no. No, there's no talk of him taking Lindsey Graham for that. No. Burgum is Trump of North Dakota, great businessman, but more establishment than I want. Yeah, I think it's possible he is. Like I said, I remember that every time he spoke, I liked him more, but there was one answer he gave that I was like, I don't remember enough. It's not like he spoke a lot during the debates. He was, always limping into the debate, barely qualifying. It's not like he was like someone who was, high on anyone's radar. Trump knows his evangelical bias doesn't like you have this whole thing about the evangelical bias. Chugi, every single time Vivek comes up, you're like, no, the Christians will never vote for Vivek. They'll never, like, seriously, the evangelicals, look, would I admit that there's a power that the church has in our elections? 100%. 100%. Definitely. First of all, it gets very split because a lot of the church gets split based on racial lines. I mean, look at those Fanny meetings that I was watching last night on Locals. If you missed my Locals, shame on you for that. But where it's like a whole different message that seems to be happening in some of these black churches. But beyond that, I mean, every president going back the last, I mean, there was all this talk about whether or not Barack was a Muslim, and he got in. No one really believed that he's like, oh yeah, some real diehard Christian. No one ever thought Trump was some diehard Christian. No one ever thought that any of these people were. I mean, that Bush is like, you know, Bush perhaps more so. I mean, Clinton. Come on. I think you're putting way too much stock on that for a perspective of 2024. Ones I grew up with wring their hands, tell me I just don't trust him. Don't trust a Hindu. Shocking. Okay. I'm sure they're going to trust him more than they'll trust Biden at the end of the day. I mean, for crying out loud, no one trusts Biden anymore. We're all equal, just some think they're more equal. This is true. Trump, Josh Hawley, 2024. See, I kind of like that. I like Josh Hawley. I do like Josh Hawley. That makes me remember what is going on here in my poll. Where's my poll at here? No, I played 2 seconds yesterday of that bang bang on the door, and I got hit with a copyright strike. Can't even believe it. Okay. So early results of my poll. 340 votes are in on my poll. 20% of you saying JD Vance, 5% saying Bergens, 8% saying Stefanik, 67% saying other. Wow. I don't want to hear Vivek. Okay. I don't want to hear the people he ruled out. 67% saying other. They're high numbers. These are high numbers. You want Rubio, Ben Sass, Ben Carson? All right. I'm going to make a new poll. Try to get this number up. I would love Byron Donalds. You're not going to get Massey or Elder. I don't think Rand Paul wants it even. They hate Trump so much, you now have to think of the VP as the new president. Which of the candidates would you want as president? Not Scott. Yes, not Scott. I'd rather Michael Scott than Tim Scott, okay? I'd rather Michael Scott than Tim Scott as president of the United States. God. He'd sit there in the Oval Office, the mug that says world's best president. That'd be great. Oh, that'd be so good. There's too many names. I can't put a poll up here. There's too many names. I'll put a poll up here. Some of you are saying it's weird to see someone from Rumble saying Tulsi, because Rumble is like, you know, that's a very strong America First community. And she does not like the guns. She's not a fan of the guns. She don't like the guns. At least if you're holding them. She doesn't want you holding any guns. Anyhow, that's a good opportunity for me to transition the conversation. So, a court ruling earlier this week said that illegal aliens have a right to possess guns. It's time for us to start thinking about VP, but I'm done with that for now. But it says that illegal aliens have a right to possess guns. They're protected by the Second Amendment. And I was going to cover this. I was very torn. Do I want to cover this on YouTube/Rumble, my regular nightly show? Did I want to cover this on playback? Did I want to cover this on locals? I was like, I don't know where, because it's a different kind of conversation. But just getting the story really quickly here. Just to get it out of the way. Federal judge in Illinois found that Constitution protects the gun rights of non-citizens who enter the United States illegally. Illegal aliens having the right to carry. U.S. District Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman on Friday ruled that a federal prohibition on illegal immigrants owning firearms is unconstitutional as applied to defendant Heriberto Carvajal Flores. The court found that while the federal ban is facially constitutional, there's no historical tradition of firearm regulation that permits the government to deprive a non-citizen who has never been convicted of a violent crime from exercising his Second Amendment rights. The non-citizen possession statute violates the Second Amendment as applied to Carvajal Flores. That's what it is. Carvajal Flores, the judge wrote. Thus, the court grants Carvajal Flores' motion to dismiss. Coleman, a President Obama appointee, that's the judge, cited the landmark Supreme Court decision in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin from 2022, which established a new standard to determine whether a law violates the Second Amendment. Since Bruin, a multitude of federal and state gun control measures have been challenged in courts with mixed results. Now, this is a very interesting question. I'm sure most of you are fairly strong Second Amendment advocates. I would be surprised if more than 5 or 10% of you are not very strongly in favor of broad interpretation of the Second Amendment. My question is, do you think that the Second Amendment is meant to incorporate illegal aliens? That they should have a right to carry? That's my question. And I will weigh in. I see a lot of you saying no. I see a lot of you saying no. A lot of you saying no. I will try to I'll try to steel man here. What do you think? Should illegal aliens be allowed to carry guns? She's busy. I was talking to you. I was asking you. Do you think illegal aliens have a Second Amendment right to carry guns?
Why do they have any amendment
right? Okay, so let's steelman this. I see a lot of you saying no. What are you even saying, Galileo? All right. I'll steelman for you. Constitution recognizes our civil rights are vested in us and endowed in us by our Creator, and that it's not the government which is giving us our civil liberties, including, right to speech, religion, right of assembly, right to protect yourself with the Second Amendment. But those are all endowed by our Creator, not by the government. And the government has no right to trample on that. And accordingly, you can make a claim that their right to carry is because they are human. And any human who has, an adult and hasn't proven themselves as being a threat to the country, a threat to their to their neighbors, that they should be endowed with inalienable rights, including Second Amendment right to carry. And that is why constitutionally it makes sense to say that even if you're an illegal alien, that when you're here in this country, you have a right to carry a gun. That's the argument that is thrown out there. I'm curious if if you guys have thought about that. I know a lot of you are saying no, 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 no. But just understanding the Second Amendment from that context, does it not make sense? Is it not a fair argument to say, and I'm not saying this is my position. I have my own position. I don't want to sway the audience with my perspectives. Others are obviously saying no, like that's totally wrong. That's totally wrong. Before I get to that, I want to share with you video here, which is horrifying. I mean, horrifying stuff. Some horrifying stuff. Where are you? Where are you? Let's see if this works.
Invadir.
This went viral.
Mi gente, he pensado invadir una casa en United States, ya que me enteré que existe
This is a legal alien.
una ley que dice
He's telling illegal immigrants how to invade American homes and invoke squatter rights.
que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla. Capichi, muchachos, aquí en United States.
Let me see if I found one in English. Because with an English translation there. Because I don't know about you, my Spanish is kind of weak in that I don't speak it. So just a tad weak.
Mi gente.
Here it is. I knew I had Colin Rugg up there for a reason.
He pensado invadir una casa en United States, ya que
Can I get bigger? Thank you.
me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla. Capichi, muchachos, aquí en United States también se aplica la de invasión de terreno. Y creo que ese será mi próximo negocio.
My next
Invadir
business
casas
is invading abandoned
abandonadas,
houses.
ya que me he buscado unos códigos con mis amigos africanos y me dijeron que ya llevan como 7 casas
They told me they already took
expropiadas.
7
Y
houses.
como dice el dicho, papi, hay que buscar la vuelta. Y la vuelta ahorita mismo es invadir casas, ya que nos encontramos en situación de calle y es la única manera que tenemos para no vivir en la calle y no ser una carga pública. Capichi, la ley dice que las casas abandonadas, deterioradas y que esté en mal estado, podemos llegar y repararlas, vivir en ellas y si podemos venderla, hasta pedir créditos con ella. ¿Qué dicen ustedes?
There you go. So the problem is that now they're homeowners, but they don't have guns. Well, the Illinois court says no more, no more. They're humans. The Constitution gives Second Amendment rights to legal aliens. Yeah. Let me see what you guys have to say about this, because I think you have a few thoughts. All right, Chris Huff, member 19 months. 19 months. Wow. Gosh, I was a young pup when you started. I want Vivek dismantling the 3-letter agencies. Here. Love that idea. RFK Jr. for director of the CIA. Okay. As long as he's not overseeing anything with having to do with guns or you know, I'm pretty much going to be okay with it. Gigi, new member of the following. Welcome to the following. The following, in case you're unaware of it, that's when people who join here become followers. And it's very easy for people to get confused and think, oh, if I'm a follower on this channel and this guy's the one who's, just talking all the time, he must be the leader. No, I am not the leader of the following. I am just a follower, just like you. The following is about community, unity, and greater personal growth. Part of being in the following is that those people who are in the following and join up on locals, they get designated digger numbers. I'll let them walk you through why they're called diggers. Right? It's got nothing to do with those New York City situation. No, definitely not that. It predates that story. It really does. But the following is, despite the name, perhaps poorly named, and that I'll accept responsibility because I was part of the naming process. The following is not at all a cult. Type of cult. So, not at all a cult. Type of cult. So, yeah, just understand that. I think it will be an ethnic, male or female, and it needs to be submissive to Trump's personality. See, okay, this is exactly what my whole point has been, Mary. And I'll tell you this also. I agree with you because he reminds me the negative element of Donald Trump's personality, which is the part that the left fixates on exclusively. The negative part of his personality, which I personally find somewhat grating, is where his narcissism and insecurities rear their ugly heads. Where I think that it reminds me of Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys. It's like, no, not tension on you. Tension's got to be over here. Tension has to be here. It's got to be here. It's got to be here. And that he exudes that need, that craving for constant recognition. And I think that having someone around who will steal his spotlight or create spotlight of their own, I think that would bother him. I think that much as, Jimmy Johnson bothered Jerry Jones. It's exact. I see so much overlap there. It's just reality. You got to know what it is. Oh, thank you for the super sticker, Lady King. That's too kind of you. I wish playback actually playbacked. Okay, I want to do away with this myth. Those of you who complain that you can't watch afterwards on playback, this is simply not true. You can watch, anyone can watch work that I did yesterday, last week, 2 weeks ago on playback. I've only been there since the beginning of the month, so there's not very much that predates that. But those of you who have questions about that, I actually, I've repeatedly pointed that out. You can watch on playback. Let me pull it up here for you. Where are you? It's not working. Look at this. Playback. Oh, all the replays. I know it says create only beta feature, but don't worry about that. That's not really. My point is, I shared a link where you can actually watch it on play. I share this link over and over again. I'll go back to that. I'm even going to put it in the chat right now. I'll put it in the chat right now. You're not gonna hide. You guys want to go on over there now? By all means. Okay, you're watching. There you go. It's in the chat. It's in the chat. Even pin it. Even pin it. You can see whatever you want. So, yeah. It's there. As a defense measure, why is this not going? As a defense measure, Trump MTG ensures. You see, that's smart thinking. That's smart thinking. That's really smart. Maybe you were inspired, like you saw Kamala sitting there a heartbeat away, and you're like, "Yeah, we're not impeaching that dude. We're never impeaching Biden. We're praying the dude lives out for the rest of his term." Because oh my God, look what's right behind him. Look what's right behind him in the queue. Oh my God, no. Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Gigi, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That reminds me, while I'm here, I should put this reminder to you folks to make sure. Oh, you can't see it when that thing's up. You can't see what that says, but there's my little subscribe banner. Yeah. There he is. He's basically telling you, hey, he pops up there with a little shirt over the shirt thing. What do you have going on? And just boom, there you go. Hit like, hit subscribe. We really appreciate it. Really would appreciate it. Okay, let me get rid of that now, though, because that's going to get annoying. Yes, they can carry their ass back to Mexico. Oh, you say, should they be allowed to carry? Isn't illegal entry other than a point of entry a felony, this making them a felon? Felons can't own guns in the U.S. Interesting question. Maybe they buy it. They should be allowed to buy it at a local gun store. Fine to carry. How they getting a legal gun? Can't get background tons check. Okay, this is like really a technical thing, though. You're saying, like, how are you going to get one into their hands? Let's say they build their own gun. You're missing the part. Why is this not working now? You're missing the part that this was a district judge in Chicago, one of the most anti-gun cities in the U.S., where they've been trying to take guns from citizens, and that's a fair point. That's a fair point, which is just it does make it that much more shocking. That much more shocking. That's a great point, Kiwi. That's important. That is an important point. That makes them an invading army. Okay. The judge did this as a dick to try and get Bruin modified or overturned. Don't take the bait. She's Obama appointed. Bruin endgamer removed the ATF. Maybe. That's possible. That's possible. But what about the argument that I made? What about the argument that I made that, look, the reason you have these civil liberties is because God gave it to you. That's what our founders told us. And the government has no right to take what God gave you. Well-regulated militia necessary for a free state. They have no right to serve in the militia. In fact, their invasion is repugnant to the second. So you're saying this doesn't apply to them because it has to be a well-regulated militia or someone's capacity to serve in a well-regulated militia. That sounds like the way left loves to argue. I read that whole well-regulated militia as just being like, this was our motivation, but ultimately the facts are now anyone has a right to the Congress shall not infringe. So I don't really like reading the whole. I kind of almost pretend that the well-regulated militia portion of it, in general, I've always kind of like just my eyes have blurred past those words as just being introductory. And I think that's consistent with Supreme Court ruling. Supreme Court rulings seem to really not care. Anytime they talk about Second Amendment, they seem to not care about that language at all. Scenario: you work in a restaurant and are friends with Pedro. Pedro lives in a bad neighborhood. Pedro says he has a gun for protection. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? I feel like I'm in that movie with Keanu Reeves. Speech what it was. What do you do? What do you do? But fair question, Izzy. It's a fair question. Okay. I mean, would I report him? I don't think if I was friends with him or not, I wouldn't report him. So So yeah, that's pretty easy. The way you frame the question, I'm going to take it as is and say, yeah, I wouldn't do anything. But even if he wasn't my friend, I probably wouldn't do anything. I can't imagine a situation where I would do anything. Unless I thought he was really a legitimate threat to society. But I wouldn't see someone and say, oh, he's an illegal alien. I'm assuming he's a threat to society. That dude over there in the video, yeah, that dude, I'd be like, yeah, he's got guns also, right? That guy, yeah. 1.2K watching, not even 400 likes. Come on, y'all. Don't be weak like Joe Smith. Okay, I want to be clear here. Contra la puerta. No se puede puerta. En caso de la emergencia, los lobos. Trying to remember. Yeah. No se puede contra la puerta is do not lean against the door. I know this because I spent enough time on New York City subways. In every door, and the subway says no se puede contra la puerta. And then there's another sign they have there for like, which they used to have. I don't know if they have this anymore because I haven't been on the subway in a while. It's in caso de la emergencia, in case of emergency, los lobos. I don't remember even. I don't remember, but they had some sort of emergency thing to pull the cord or whatever. So that was also in Spanish. And when you're sitting on a train for like a half hour, 40 minutes, and you don't have cell service, you kind of get bored. You're reading anything that's in front of you. Anyhow, yeah, the only other thing I know in Spanish is SOC, KS. That's about it. To be honest, I only care about government infringing on our rights. The rest of the world is not my concern. They've already broken the law by entering. Well, I kind of agree with you on that. Master Phillips, who exactly is planting the rage bait about 2A for illegals? Same people who blame gun crime on neighboring states, gun show loopholes, rhinos. This smells like horse crap meant to distract. But what does that mean? Does that mean you're okay with this? Or you don't care? What does it mean? What does it mean? We can believe that they have. I kind of agree with you, and it's designed to inflame, but it's like, I don't know if you're just dodging the question. So you think it's fine for them to own guns? You don't care? Truth is, let's be real. Even if it was illegal for them to own guns, you think any cop is going to go up to them and like actually? They seem to have like. Have conferred upon them like blessings of being higher class citizens. We can believe that they have those rights in their own country, but they're not Americans. Our government has no obligation to protect those rights. What about the fact that if they're endowed by their creator? Use power diet Mountain Dew to get over 100K. That is the goal. That's been the plan for a while now. It's not a cult. It's not at all a type of cult. Anna P says, why is this not showing? Oh my gosh, this is working weird. The chat will hate me for this, but as a former Democrat, now Trumper, I like Tulsi as a pick if it's not Vivek. So in other words, Vivek is your first pick, but if not Vivek, Tulsi. She's smart, elegant, and veteran, knows exactly how to counter leftist talking points, and she'll get the independent votes. So that's an interesting thought. And I don't think the chat's going to hate you for that. I think a lot of people see the allure of Tulsi Gabbard. She is smart. She's smart. At least she comes across as being intelligent. Far more intelligent than many politicians. There's been moments of honesty we've seen from her, which are rare from politicians, like when she gave the backstory as to what happens when you get to Washington and how they tell you that you're obligated to serve your party, and otherwise you're going to be run out of Washington. So look, there is what to like about her. I mentioned a half hour ago how appearance is a factor that cannot be ignored when you're talking about who is on the ballot, because invariably our politicians, as a group, a collective group, with some obvious exceptions, but as a group, they tend to not be hideous looking. You don't see people who are weird, very rarely you see like hideous people there? And she's obviously, you know, she's a former model. So yeah. And the appeal to the independence, there's a lot of different factors there. The fact that she's female, the fact that she's a woman, a lot of different factors. I don't think she's going to get it. I don't think she's going to get it. And I also don't, I really don't like her position on the Second Amendment. I don't like it at all. But I can agree with you on this. I think that adding Tulsi Gabbard, purely from a political perspective, I think it enriches the Trump ticket. Meaning, I think it does have potential to bring in votes in ways that few people could. I don't think J.D. Vance is bringing in very many votes. I like him as the backup to something happening to the president. I like him much more as the backup than Tulsi Gabbard. But first you need to win the seat. That needs to happen. That must happen. That has to happen. And I do think that Tulsi enriches the overall ticket. I agree with you on that. I think it's not. I don't think it's hard to even. I think it's difficult to make a counter argument against that. Anyone who's saying that, you might say like, no. So my point is this: as far as her politics and how you feel about her, is she someone that's going to be in the top 3 candidates that you're going to like? Probably not. Probably not. Maybe for some of you, yeah, but probably not for most of you. You see how wide and disparaging the flavors of what people are looking for were in my poll. So probably not. But as far as someone who has the capacity to actually get him votes from places that he might not otherwise already have those votes secured, yeah, I think she probably does flesh out the ticket in ways that few other running mates could. And you got to get into the White House first. That's the first step. You got to get in there. So if she can help deliver an extra, I don't know, across the country, an extra 1 million votes, I think that's a significant thing, right? And do you have any confidence in any other person that you could say that, oh, that's going to get another 1 million votes? Hard to say. So I like your thinking there. Sorry for being mean. I'll take it all. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much, Tammy Time. Appreciate you. Brittany says, now that your daughter is hitched, does Lady Lawgic get her bedroom back? Move the studio into your daughter's old room, perhaps. You know, there's actually been talks about this. There have been talks about this. I don't know.
It's nice that she's thinking of me.
It is nice that she's thinking of you. It is. Yeah. There have been talks about this. It's complicated. It's complicated because, like, you know, we have family that
they keep coming back.
That visits, yeah, you know, on weekends and stuff like that. So it's like, so then they stay up in the attic there, which is where I would be making my studio. So it's complicated. I can't find it in the app. Maybe that's the source of the confusion. Maybe that's the source of the confusion. Maybe that is the source of the confusion. Maybe it is the source. I'm just poking at you, chick. Bruin is beautiful decision turning over bad gun laws faster than any prior. Freedom is scary. Don't take judges' bait to get it modified. I don't think it needs to be modified. I wasn't never implying that it should be modified. Okay, this is. I didn't answer the question. Just how many more comments I have on this? Oh, dang. Jenny L. dropping the 50. Hello, like the stream, folks. Thanks, Joe. You're so welcome, Jenny. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Every time I see, I always think of Forrest Gump every time I see Jenny. If Biden refuses to bend the knee and either expel or execute illegal migrants who commit murder, will we see a resurgence in vigilantism? That's Scorpid Black Dragon is asking me on Rumble. I hope not. I hope not. I don't know. Certainly, I don't want to see that before the election. That's for sure. That would just be terrible. Joe, out of the box idea. Since vice presidents do not have term limits, how about professional vice president for viable presidential candidates every election? The RMC needs this to continue reforms. That'd be pretty funny. That is out of the box thinking. I like it. I like it. A professional VP. Like it's always the RNC's vice president. You should have called her Big Booty Latina. Oh, am I on the wrong page? I'm on the wrong page. That was yesterday's. I jumped over to yesterday's. Sorry about that. Il Sarta says, any thoughts on Candace Owens, Rabbi Barclay debate? Were you the one who asked me this yesterday? I don't know about the Candace Owens, Rabbi Barclay debate. I don't know. I it might shock some of y'all. But like, it's not like I have a regular Google search here of Jews in the news. I just don't. I don't. I don't know. There's few things I care like less about than I'm just not. I'm very over her. Joe, you misinformed Tulsi's 2 ways saying she just posted a 3-minute clip on her YouTube channel, interviewed with Don Jr. Pull it up. Oh, so she's flip-flopping now? Is she flip-flopping on guns? That's not going to make me like her more. If she's flip-flopping her position on guns, that's not going to make me like her more, because that's just going to make me think like she's just now that she's basically giving lip service, and that makes me think of her more as a politician and like her less. Let me see. Now I got to see this. Tulsi Don Jr. guns.
So you're a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserves, and yet
Yes.
I see TV pundits who've never served, who probably hate America, attack you as some sort of Russia lover. What does that come from? What do you make of those attacks?
I think you're probably pretty familiar with those attacks yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I am. I'm a Russia lover because I don't feel we should spend $1 trillion in a war in Ukraine that we haven't articulated what victory looks like. That's just me, because apparently I'm stupid. But I'm a Putin apologist and a Russia lover. Basically, I work for them, according to the mainstream press.
And this is the same tired line they throw out.
Yeah. I'm not seeing that part though. I looked up Tulsi Don Jr. guns. That's an interview from, I don't know. I don't see it. I need people to like hit me with links. If you want me to see something, I need links. She changed her mind 2 years back and said exactly how she was wrong, bought into emotional arguments from the people in her ear. Really? All right. Okay. Look at this. Why am I having problems with this thing popping up? Happy belated birthday, Lady Lawgic. We love you. From Audio Joe. I knew he was number 6. See, this is what happened. We're registering numbers.
It's so nice.
It is nice.
Thank you.
She says thank you. It's very thoughtful. I was like, he was like the one who originated the idea of numbering. So I was like, and I remembered him being number 6. So when I saw registration starting to fill up, I was like, no. I think he's 6. And then Big Boo thought you were 9. Or someone thought you were 9. So yeah. I was like, no, he's getting that number because this whole numbering idea was his idea. So, and I think it's a great idea. And the reason I like it is I think it helps build community. So, Wesley says, are they trying to arm a population against the 2A population? Thought from the back of my head brain. Okay, so I want to talk to you about my position on Second Amendment with respect to illegal aliens. I think a lot of people react for obvious reasons with disgust and anger at the idea that illegal aliens should be able to own guns because it sounds retarded. It just does. So you're going to illegally come into the country and then you're going to be able to, so you're already breaking the law to get in here, and now you're going to claim that your civil liberties and a natural right to having guns, just like any other American living here. And the argument that I postulated earlier, there is logic behind it to say if our rights are endowed to us by our creator, those are civil liberties which really belong to every human. So there's logic to that. And I'm not going to kid you that, and I don't want to mislead anyone about the law, especially since you all know I'm an attorney. I'm not going to misstate the law. I'm just going to tell you I disagree with the following law that happens to be the position that the Supreme Court has held for a long time. I think it's philosophically flawed. A philosophically flawed position is that Steelman argument that I made earlier, where I said, well, if civil liberties are endowed to us by our creator, then that should be available to everyone. I do not look at the Constitution that way. And I look at the Constitution as sacred and dear. But I also look at it as a contract. It is a contract between America's citizens and its government. It's a contractual relationship. And the reason it's a contractual relationship is because we are ascending you to positions of authority over us, to be our representatives, to be our judges, to be police officers, and jail those of us who are a threat to the rest of the citizen body. Accordingly, this is not something that is just part of, it's not something that it's like, well, God created man, gave him inalienable rights, and therefore it is the duty of America to afford those rights to anybody who steps foot onto this holy land of the 48 contiguous states plus Alaska and Hawaii. I do not look that way. I do not think that there's something sacred that because this is earth that is part of our borders, that once someone dips a toe onto that sacred earth, that magically all of the rights which we hold sacred, precious, and dear now become conferred upon anybody who sets foot into our borders. Because I look at it as a relationship. The Constitution might have been born conceptually, came from an idea. Why are we setting up these civil liberties that way? It was out of recognition that we are all God's creatures and endowed with certain inalienable rights. That was the genesis of the contract. But that is not the contract. That is not the deal. The point is, the reason that we put people in governance, put them in power, is to help better the lives of American citizens. That's what it's about. That's why we agreed to this contract in the first place. That's why a sovereign state like, Maryland, a sovereign state like Connecticut, a sovereign state like South Carolina said, I want to be part of this because our government is all going to be working in concert to the citizens.
Being an American is a privilege.
Being an American is a privilege. Amen. But that privilege is not simply because you happen to be standing in the country of America. The beauty of this relationship is that it goes to the individual person, not to the territory. And while I certainly love our country and admire and look at with awe and wonder from sea to shining sea and purple mountains majesty and all of that beautiful, both in prose and in actuality aspects to our country, like a wonderful, rich, nutrient rich. I don't mean financially rich, although that's obviously an aspect which has flowed from the concepts that were helped formed by our founders. But the relationship is not because of the beauty of our territory that we happen to be blessed to be born into. The wealth that we have as Americans is a conceptual idea which is rooted in a contractual relationship that was structured in the Constitution between American government and its citizenry, not and its territories, not and its border along the West Coast or the East Coast or along the 48th parallel or along the Mexican border. It's not along the El Paso River. It's not the Hudson River. It's not about our geography. And just because someone happens to be blessed that they managed to actually spend a moment of their lives living in this wonderful country or visiting in this wonderful country, I do not believe that their ergo immediately confers upon them all the blessings of the contract between government and American citizens that is reflected in our Constitution. So all of the civil liberties, and the reason I'm telling you this is not the law is because it is not the law, what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is not the way the Supreme Court has looked at it. I think it's the way they should look at it, but historically, it is not how they have looked at it. But I would tell you that I do not believe that someone who is a non-American citizen who comes into into the United States of America should be blessed with any one of the civil liberties that are part of our Constitution. Zero. None of them. The reason you have American privilege, the reason you have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, your right to assembly, your freedom of the press, the reason you have a Second Amendment, you have your constitutional rights with respect to your Fifth Amendment, and your right to have counsel and face your accusers, the reason that you have a right not to face cruel and unusual punishments, the reason that you don't have freaking soldiers coming in there and quartering in your house, all of these different protections, your right to due process, all of these things are not because you're standing in some glorious state that's part of our union. No, it comes because you are an American citizen. That's it. End of story. And I'm sorry. I don't care if you're a Canadian who's visiting here. You're not American. You're not part of the contract. That's just the way it is. And if you want to form a contract with your government, and you can actually find a government that would be based enough to create such a thing in 2024, which frankly, there's no government on the planet which would be based enough to do that. But if you can manage to formulate something like that, I say to you, God bless. I recommend to you, if you're forming a brand new country, use the model that our founders ordained back in 1789 because they were friggin' brilliant. But I would direct your Supreme Court to say, this is special for our citizens. Because the government that we set up here was created by the citizens for the citizens, not for non-citizens. That's part of your whole sovereignty, that we are a separate country. Thank God. Because most countries, I don't know, the 179 countries on the planet, most of them suck. Terrible. In one way, if not or another way, and most of them in dozens and dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of ways, or thousands of ways, that they're infinitely way worse than the United States of America. You have American privilege, but your American privilege is not limited or is not blessed upon you because you happen to be in this wonderful geography that this country happens to be blessed to be situated in. Blessed by God to be situated in. It's not because No, your civil liberties, which were given to you by God, were protected for you by a United States Constitution that is a contract between the government and its people, and it's by the people for those people, not for the entire world. And that's the way it should be. So no, there should be no Second Amendment rights for illegal aliens. I'm going to tell you something. There should be Second Amendment rights for anyone who's not naturalized citizen. I don't care if you're visiting here. You still shouldn't have your First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, none of that. You want to know why? Because you're not American. That's just it. And you want to know something? If I visit your country, and you want to tell me that I don't have the same class privileges as people, as members of your state, I would say that makes a whole freaking lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. When I say America first, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that because I'm saying America first, that means I'm spitting on other nations. It means I want a government that's looking out for its own people. And you want to know something? If you're a Romanian, you should be saying Romania first. If you're a Russia, you should say Russian first. If you're Chinese, you should say China first. If you're French, you should say Viva la silk shirts, whatever it is that you want to say there. I don't care. That's what you should be saying. You should love your country. That doesn't mean that because you love your country, that anyone sets foot in your country, all of a sudden is conferred with the same rights and privileges that you are. If you're from Uruguay, you should be Uruguay first. And this is reflected in our sporting events, where every 4 years when we have the World Cup, everyone's sitting there, looking out for their nationality, which makes sense. It's a globalist perspective. An unhealthy globalist perspective of trying to glom us all together, where someone comes along and says, oh, yeah, what do you mean? So in the United States, he's here in New Jersey. Why should he have any less rights than you, Joe? And I'll tell you why. Because he's not a friggin' American citizen. That's why. And if you're an American citizen, every one of these blessings and privileges come to you. And I don't care if you're male. I don't care if you're female. I don't care if you're a male who thinks you're a female or a female who thinks you're a male. I don't care what type of surgery you did on yourself. I don't care what type of genitalia is most interesting to you. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care what your political opinions are. I don't care how stupid you are. I don't care if you're a bartender who managed to find your way into Congress. I don't care. I don't care who you are. That's the privilege. That's part of the contract we have, that every single friggin' one of you, even the really, really, really stupid ones, are blessed with American privilege of getting these civil liberties, and nobody else. Nobody. That's it. Nobody else. That's my take on it. Alas, that's not what the law in America is. The law in America confers these rights unto visitors as well. When you start opening it up like that, all of a sudden it gets very confusing as far as like, well, I don't know. They got Second Amendment rights. I don't know. Should they? I don't know. Well, to be consistent with all the other stupid decisions that you made with respect to conferring these rights onto people who set foot in our country, I don't know. Go figure it out. But that's how it should be. That's how it should be. I told you how it should be. But I also told you how it is, which is unfortunately not how it should be. And that's what Joe Sullivan basically is asking here. Do I have the right to go to other countries and be afforded their rights? Am I subject to their laws or mine? It's like you shoot yourself in the head with some of these, like the way people like just when you start applying just by ridiculous yardsticks. It's like it's so illogical. I don't know what the heck is happening here with my. I can't show things. It's so weird. It's so slow. Illegal aliens born with 2A rights lose that right when they commit a felony or of illegal entry. So illegal entry, I don't know if that actually counts as a felony. I'm not sure if it counts as a felony. As a non-American MTG, and God give rights shall not be infringed. If illegal equals felon, then no pew pew for you. Obviously, Joe, love you. I agree with you, Ziddick. You're all gonna lose your crap when he picks RFK Jr. He's not picking RFK. He's not picking RFK. And I wants to know, can we pretty please watch the Tulsi Kamala debate? Pretty please. I didn't even know there was a Tulsi Kamala debate. Do you know how many more topics I still plan on covering tonight? It's 11:35, and I have like 4 more topics. The clip's on YouTube, you boomer. Who wants me to see this? See her channel. Where's Tulsi? Does she have her own channel, Tulsi? I guess she does.
Hey, everyone.
Second Amendment.
So, when I'm looking at the comments now, I think it seems, one of the big concerns is, about the Second Amendment. Obviously, you're a veteran. You've served, you understand that. And lately, I've seen you actually hanging out with some of my buddies, over at Sons of Liberty Gunworks. I know I do stuff with them with my sort of outdoor publication and my crazy other lives. Talk a little bit about that, because there seems to be sort of, has there been a change in that? Is there just a more of an understanding, of the Second Amendment? Because it's the one that seems to repeat itself a lot. I'd love you to just be able to address it for the crowd.
Yeah, of course. Now, I grew up here in Hawaii, where, as you probably know, it's one of the most restrictive gun ownership states in the country. I certainly
So restrictive that they said, we don't care about the Supreme Court's decision in Bruin, because we take much more influence from ancient Hawaiian law that was codified in the great pineapple surfboard legends of 19 before we were a state, or 1847, or whatever stupid thing that they have, and we're going to go with their perspectives about gun. And that just says to me, you know what? Just to hell with them. We don't need you anymore. We don't need you. We'll make a treaty. Go form your own country. You don't want to follow the Supreme Court? Go follow your own country. If Joe Biden had any integrity and cojones, he would have turned our entire Pearl Harbor Navy against Hawaii after the Supreme Court of Hawaii basically committed treason. We don't care about what the Supreme Court of the United States says. Then who are you? What are you like? Are you Samoa? What are you? You're an American state. It's like you don't believe in the contract that you have between the two states, and you know what? We're not going to send you any federal assistance. That's what I tell Florida if I was president. When you say we're making this decision because we disregarding Bruin, that's anarchy. That's complete anarchy, and that's something that it's another thing. It's another embarrassing stain on the legacy that is Joe Biden.
didn't grow up.
I mean, I guess at a certain point, it's hard when someone's wearing clothing that's so stained. It's hard to tell which one's new.
Kind of gun culture,
Which stain is new?
Things like some of my friends and your friends, where they grew up around guns ever since they were kids. I probably shot a pistol with my dad a couple of times and didn't touch a rifle until I joined the military. And even then, for those of you who may be watching who served in the military, you know how restrictive the military is with firearms for safety reasons. You sign your rifle out, you go to the range, you qualify, or you do your training event. Every single bullet is accounted for. Every single rifle is carefully accounted for. And of course, it's locked up at the end of the day. So I've always held the position that I support the Second Amendment and understood our intrinsic right as humans to defend ourselves and to defend our loved ones. I got to tell you, as time went on, and I spent a lot of time, especially over my campaign president and the years since, with a lot of folks in New Hampshire and Iowa and different parts of the country who had a very different experience than I did growing up. They raised a lot of concerns around some of the things that throughout my time in Congress had all been coined as, well, this is common sense gun safety laws. This is well-intentioned in order to try to make sure that our communities are safe. That's a pretty compelling argument. But as with many things in Washington, as you know well, once you start peeling back the surface, you can understand that for a lot of folks who are using those words, they don't have good intentions at all. Their real objective is to try to get rid of the Second Amendment and take away our right to own firearms and our right to defend ourselves. And even more pointedly, especially with where we are now and where the Biden-Harris administration has taken us, our founders intended the Second Amendment to be a check on the abuse of power by a tyrannical government. And when you look back at the things that started to roll out throughout COVID, when you look at what the Biden-Harris administration has done, where they're using the power of our law enforcement, the county, state, and federal level in different ways, using the power of the Department of Justice, the power of the national security state against American citizens. You had that clip of Representative Adam Schiff there in your opening, one of the biggest offenders of this, where they have no issue using the secret FISA court to surveil Americans illegally without a warrant. They have no issue sicking the FBI or other law enforcement agencies against American citizens who've done nothing wrong other than exercise their right to free speech. So over time, my increased understanding, my being able to have some really great and honest conversations with Americans who cherish our freedom, who cherish the Second Amendment, helped me better understand what it really meant. My husband and I are gun owners and recently competed in the tactical games for the first time. I appreciate and respect every American's right to own a gun or not to own a gun.
Okay.
Chairman George.
Okay. Okay. At least she gives justification for changing her mind. To me, it smells like that's her way of kissing up to the GOP. I'm just saying. I don't believe she really means it. Because when you're saying this because of the position of Washington in the last couple of years, that means it's something that you think should be taken away at a time when you don't deem Washington to be unhealthy. So yeah, I'm not really sold that she's a big believer in the inherent right to self-protect. But, I guess giving the lip service is something. And like I said, I can't argue with the fact that she probably adds to the role for the GOP. So I can't get this. I can't click show. I don't know why it's not. When I'm clicking show here, it's taking forever to come up. I missed this earlier. Dr. Sean Exelwright, XL ESQ says they have the right to bear arms. They don't have the right to be here. The gun is a red herring. The fact that they're dealing with law enforcement, they're here legally equals deportation. Hear, hear. Amen. Your Spanish is as clear as the Rio Grande. VP pick is to get votes. The position has no power. That's true. That is true. Except the thought is we're talking about an 80-year-old man here. It's a little scary, right? If it's someone who's going to be, turn into Kathy Hochul. When Kathy Hochul first came into power, when she was lieutenant governor, no one thought she was going to end up being governor. Things happen. And this is a guy, and if you're talking about President Trump, that's a person who has a lot of targets aimed at his head. All you need is one of them to hit. And I don't mean that literally. I mean, even figuratively. And I guess it could mean literally too. So, Anna, do you have that Tulsi Kamala debate? And how long is it? Tulsi Kamala. Oh, you're talking about back in 2016? You're talking about in 2020 when they were running in the... Is that what you're talking about? You can't own a gun if you break the law. It's got to be a felony, though. The people's rights are God-given and they apply to all. No reason to bother free people. Deport lawbreakers innocent until proven guilty. Well, that's what I was saying. I disagree with you. I think it's a contract between government and its people. That's what the Constitution is. Now, the inspiration was the notion that it's God-given, but with respect to enforcing American law, while I recognize on a personal level, I am of the complete knowledge and awareness that everything that happens ultimately is in God's hands. With respect to man's influence in decision making and who's controlling making these decisions, with respect to running this country, that is in our government's hands. So, while I believe that God's hand is far more overt than people recognize, that's not as far as that's not how things tend to operate when we're deciding who's going to be making decisions and what decisions we're going to be making. So, they took my rights. They don't get guns until I get mine back. At least nonviolent felons shouldn't lose gun rights, especially if illegals can have. WTF? Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, nonviolent felons not having gun rights is kind of ridiculous. And this guy's a reformed convict. So why can't, if it was nonviolent? Like, I never understood that. So if someone commits fraud, so now they're a threat to have a gun? I never understood. I don't think nonviolent felons should be kept from having guns. Liberals will lose. Well, hope so. Amen. Your mouth to God's ear. Love you, Joe, but I disagree. What do you disagree with, Mama 4? You got to be more specific. They should be blessed with a jail cell or deportation preferred. Amen. Amen. Where we go. I'm getting very frustrated by this not jumping to the next one. The citizens of Puerto Rico, USA property, don't have right to guns like the rest of us. So why would illegals have those rights? Like I said, they're treating it as if it's just the blessings of the geography, which is stupid. It's insane. I was writing a clarifying super chat for you, but your rant is pretty much my thoughts. Maybe not as pro-America extremist as me, but close enough. Okay. All right. Good. I agree. Didn't know where you're going first. Oh, okay. You ultimately agreed with me. Okay. So if foreign tourists wrongly accused, they don't have the same rights as me in court? They shouldn't. No. They should not. That's correct. Philosophically, they should not. That's part of your privilege of being an American. I mean, that's not what the law is. The law is they do have the same rights as you. I'm simply saying I disagree. I philosophically and fundamentally believe that is an erroneous line of decisions that the Supreme Court has routinely made. The Supreme Court has routinely upheld the notion that anyone who's here gets the same conferment of rights and privileges as an American citizen. I just think that it's philosophically and fundamentally flawed. But so I'm telling you what the law is, and I'm telling you some laws we disagree with, and this is one of them. I personally disagree with. You can agree with it or disagree with it. So, Joe, is our rights a privilege? I don't know what that means. Our rights are a privilege. You're privileged to have your rights be recognized. You have rights, but your rights may not be recognized. The fact that your rights are recognized is the privilege. As opposed to having your rights taken away from you. Illegal crossing, first offense is a misdemeanor. Subsequent offenses are a felony. Is that true? I don't know if that's true. After felonious entry, no gun. So again, I don't think that's a felony to enter the country. Remember, Trump did bump stock ban, not best in 2A. I agree with you. He's not the best on 2A. He's not. He's really not. This is why I say, I'm telling you right now, I think I'm more MAGA than Trump is. I also don't think MAGA is all about Trump. I think he reawakened the popularity of a recognition of America First principles. Trump has picked already someone who follows his policy to the letter. We'll see. That's what people love to say that he picked. If someone's out of prison, they can still acquire a gun. If you can't be trusted with guns, you can't be trusted to be out of prison. That's an interesting thought. I don't know that I agree with that. I don't know that I agree with that. Because let's say someone commits arson. Imagine this situation. A person commits arson and they get sentenced to 20 years in prison. And because of prison sentencing and their good behavior, they get out after 12 years. Let's say they serve all 20 years. The level of punishment that they got was that's the maximum sentence they can get is 20 years. Now they serve the entire 20 years and they're every bit the same raving lunatic that they were when they went in. You can't punish them for longer because that would be unconstitutional to give them a longer sentence. So I respectfully disagree with you, Durno. I don't think that makes sense. We have no legal right to keep them restrained any longer because the crime that they committed had a maximum sentence. So yeah, I'm going to disagree with you on that one. God gives us our rights. Why does government get to give us the privilege of having them back? So I think you're asking a question on my philosophy here as to why it is that it's you can have a recognition of your rights. So this is let's think this through. Okay, let's think this through philosophically. Okay, we start with the premise that every person is born. Imagine a world where there's no governments. Okay, there's no government whatsoever. There's no rule. You just have anarchy everywhere. Okay, no real formed societies, all that other stuff. So now you could say philosophically, and everyone here recognizes the existence of God and that your humanity means that you should be conferred upon you certain rights. The fact of the matter is, though, that people are just going to ignore that. Some people are going to control you and do things to control you, to limit and restrict your freedoms and your rights, whether they're going to rob from you or they'll steal stuff from you. They're going to basically infringe upon you. So now we're setting up a government to oversee the population. Now the government is recognizing that the reason that recognize that the reason the government has this decision-making power over you is because you are part of a group which decided to put these people in charge over you. So now that you put these people in charge over you, they have no rights with respect to what they do with you and stepping on those rights given to you by God. But, and there's certain privileges and protections that should come with that. However, part of their function is also to ensure your protection. Now, living with these rights, and when we're living in this anarchistic type of realm, and there is no government, before the formation of governments, you have certain exposure to different elements of people who will rip your rights away from you wrongfully. Right? The function of government is to help protect its citizen from having those rights ripped away from them. In that sense, government, in an ideal setting, is supposed to serve as the protector of the citizens, the people who put them in that power. In a sense, they're the bodyguard of the citizenry. But they are not the bodyguard of someone who sets foot in the territory. Their function is to protect and enrich the lives of their citizens. And they are not entrusted with any sort of powers or protections that are designed to help anyone who is not part of that citizenry. And accordingly, to the extent that they need to step on someone's rights, even if God-given, in order to fulfill that function of protecting their own citizens, that is part of their function and duty. It is part of their obligation. I would say it is a more moral perspective because you're basically taking this role. You're taking this role of your function and duty is to help enrich the lives of your citizen. That's why we call it public service. You're serving the public. You are a servant of the public. That's why it's called that. That you are supposed to be taking care of your citizens and not of the entire globe. So just because in our country we decide that our citizens were going to recognize God's rights for these citizens, that's part of the blessings of the fact that we agreed to be part of this social contract where we put these people in positions of power. But someone who was not part of that entire structure has neither the expense from taxes or pocketbook or other, nor the blessings that come with that. Now, in an ideal scenario, they will retain their governance from whatever nationality that they're a part of, whatever country they're a part of, and that government should be protecting their rights. But that's not the duty of the American government. In no world would I trust AOC with Sadly, even bartenders who made it into Congress are get those confirmants, no matter how stupid they are. Regarding true comment, would it be reasonable if we passed a law that we recognize certain rights for legal tourists, etc., i.e., fair trial, but no Second Amendment? I don't think. I'll tell you right now, I don't think any of them. In my personal view, the law is they get all of it. It's the law. Human rights self-defense. Why is that end based on privilege of being citizens? I can't walk it. Go back and review. If you still have questions, then come back. Go back and review. Maybe you asked that before I went through the last part. Joe, after 20 years, we punished them enough. Also, Joe, we get to punish them by restricting two-way to them. No. So, first and foremost, I said after 20 years, we have no right to punish them any further because they didn't do anything that would enable us to restrict their ability to walk around free. At the same time, that doesn't mean that there's not a duty to keep citizens safe. And someone who has shown a willfulness to harm others, there's a duty to keep your citizens safe. By your logic, then there's two functions to prison. There's rehabilitation, and then there's the safety of the population. So it's not a matter of we get to punish them. It's not like we're looking to punish them, teach them a lesson. It's a matter of you're still a hazard to society. We're talking here about a violent felon. Now, you want to tell me there should be some way to rehabilitate and have a violent offense cleared off that you could have a right to get a gun? We can have a conversation about that. I could definitely see where that would be. But just to assume that they served their time and now that they're totally fine for them to just walk around society with a gun after they went off and killed 14 people and then lived as long as Methuselah, so they managed to actually outlive their sentences. Now you want to give them a gun? Doesn't make any sense. You have your rights from God. If you're a citizen, the government protects those rights. If you're not a citizen, the government doesn't protect it. Yes. Precisely. Succinct and perhaps stated better than I did. Thank you, Wellesley. If you're a citizen, the government protects those rights. Your rights come from God. If you're a citizen, the government protects those rights. If you're not a citizen, they're not supposed to. Government does not protect the citizens. They're given limited authority dictated by contract of the Constitution. Where does protection... Protection is part of the embedment of your lives. Why do we have government at all? Was there any government? Was there any government? I don't even understand what this means. Why do we have national defense? Why do we have any spending on a national defense? Why do we have a court system? To adjudicate disputes between people. Just let everyone shoot each other, sort it out that way. Strongest man wins. Yeah, I don't understand what this means. Of course it's designed to protect its citizens. Joe, please read the Gun Control Act of 68. It specifically identifies the issues you're talking about with aliens and immigrants. I can't start reading that now. I still have topics I haven't even begun to touch. And I'm already 2 hours in. It's not safe to have full rights, not safe to be in public. If not safe to have full rights, not safe to be in public. Listen, I'm going to say this one more time. Okay? And after that, I don't know what else to tell you. So if John Smith commits a crime, a violent crime, gets indicted and convicted and sentenced, and then serves out his sentence, and based on the parameters of law that say this is how long you get punished, and now they serve that time, it would be immoral to keep them there longer. However, just because they are free does not mean that we are completely forgetful about the nature that they have expressed in their past through action, violent action. So they have a right to be free from prison, but the idea that they should be restricted from having access to weapons that enable them to actually repeat their offense of harming others seems so open-minded as to have lost your mind. That's my point. Now, if you want to tell me that there should be a system where they can establish that they're no longer a threat to society, because there is a duty to protect society. So you want to tell me that you want to be able to establish some sort of way that we can have a yardstick to monitor whether particular individuals who were once convicted, who were convicted of violent offenses could prove that they've been properly rehabilitated and no longer a threat to society and therefore able to carry guns. Like I said, that's a conversation which I'm willing to have. You know, it's that you would need to figure out what yardsticks would be something that the public would be satisfied with. Will U.S. government protect my two-way while I'm a tourist elsewhere? No, they won't protect me here. I'll be tried regardless of pretrial evidence. Prosecutor elected to protect me will try to convict. That's the other thing also. That's the other thing. Our rights are so much more open that it's stupid that when they come here, they have more rights than in their own country. Like, I don't even understand that. We hold these truths to be self-evident, though I'm going to create equal that they're endowed with by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. No citizen. So, what does this have to do with somebody living in the West Indies? What does it have to do with them? This is a preamble. What does that mean? It's a preamble which basically gives you the mindset. Okay. Then what? Why do they have any jurisdiction to write anything at all and say anything at all? It's because of a social contract between people and its government. Otherwise, their words are as meaningless as some new government in Central Africa that they write this, and what impact does that have on you? America, what impact is that having on you? Are you saying there's no punitive side to jail prison? I'm not saying that. There is a punitive side. We're limited in that punitive side specifically to whatever is written in a statute at the moment that the crime is being committed. That's the limitation. There is, but that's the limitation on the punitive side as far as how long we can incarcerate somebody. So yeah, it's designed to punish them. That doesn't mean that they're going to be rehabilitated as a result of being punished. I never expected this conversation to go this way. I haven't even checked up what you folks are yelling at me on Rumble. Let me see what I've been getting there. Too busy fighting with YouTube people. I know you're mad enough at me to scream at me in color. All right. So you want to say, Jacob, that withholding gun rights is a punishment beyond the sentence? Arguably, yes. Arguably, that's true. That's true. However, that's a punishment which is already on the books at the time that they committed the crime. Right? Meaning, if it means that if you commit a crime, they say you can be incarcerated for X number of years. So, okay, that's how long you can be incarcerated. That doesn't mean there are no other repercussions beyond that. And as long as it's on the books, I don't understand why there's a legal issue with that. All right. I didn't get to the fun stuff yet. We didn't even get to the fun stuff. I want to share with you some very encouraging stuff. Very encouraging stuff. You're all mad at me about my positions here, about where I'm basically saying that I don't even understand. I'm telling you that I think the illegal aliens shouldn't have any of these rights, and you're all mad at me that I'm not sitting here saying let's give ex-felons, let's hand out weapons to ex-felons when they walk out when they walk out of their jail cell. Can I get to the fun stuff now? Can we do that? Can I get to the fun stuff? I gotta get out of here at some point tonight. I feel like I'm gonna be going for 4 hours tonight. The solution to this: double the length of all prison sentences. Half a sentence is parole by default. You finish parole, get your rights. That's not that's never gonna happen. That's not realistic. I'm not sure I don't even know if that solution would work. This is a guy wearing Liberals for Trump t-shirt. I want to share with you and show you how the culture amongst the left, people on the left, how disenfranchised they are with what they have been supporting for years. Check this guy out.
It says Liberals for Trump. I remember there was a moment I was listening to an NPR radio report about Trump during his campaign, and he was talking about building the wall. And I'm listening to this, and I'm like, Trump is just pandering to these racists. And
that's where he was. That Trump was just pandering racist when he says build the wall.
And you fast forward to today, where we have pretty much an open border. You see the image of those cops getting beaten up in New York City by those migrants. Not even the next day, they're let out, no consequence, and the guy's flipping the double bird to the media. When you actually look at the issue and how it's unfolded, he was absolutely correct about it. And it has nothing to do with racism. It's everything to do with policy. It says Liberals for Trump.
There you go. There you go. I don't even know who that guy is. I don't know how that got into my feed, but I was like, I gotta put that away and share that because that's a nice little white pill. Watching them wake up to how stupid their policies have been, how completely and utterly moronic their policies have been. But people are still yelling at me. People are still yelling at me. Everyone's still yelling at me. If you're yelling at me, at the very least, very least, can you right here, like and subscribe? Gosh, so much anger I created tonight. I didn't know it was going to end up like this. Who knew? All right, That was the first of three. I got three I want to share with you. Three liberals who are just fed up. And when the culture starts to change, which it's changing. This is where we're seeing the meltdown of the left that's starting to happen. The complete and total meltdown. Check out this rant from Anna Kasparian.
Dismembering a corpse and hiding a corpse after dismembering it. Not bail eligible. Not a serious crime. I'm not even kidding, guys. Like when Joy Behar outlined that case, I was like, she's crazy. This isn't a thing. This isn't real. So I looked it up. It's real, guys. It's real. Listen, if being on the left means supporting this, then I'm not on the left, and I'm okay with that. So let me give you the details of the case.
It doesn't mean
I'm not. Cenk, you can see his heart like just being like, oh my god, I'm feeling a numbness in my left arm. I'm feeling numbness. You're talking to our audience, telling them you're not on the left anymore. He's feeling a tingling sensation in his arm. His face is going pale. You don't mean that.
Okay, I don't know. Let me give you the
Behar's
details.
on the left. We're all on the left. We don't want people dismembering folks getting released. Only a couple
Some
of
do.
lunatic.
Some do.
I know. What I was in the middle of saying is only a couple of lunatic activists are like, yeah, we're pro dismemberment guys being let go. Okay, whatever.
These
You
poor
don't represent the
criminals
left
who
at all.
dismembered bodies. It's so unfair to put them in prison. Okay, let me give you the details of the actual case, okay? So 4 people were arrested in New York after body parts were found in Long Island. Okay, dismembered body parts. The victims were, 2 people from Yonkers, older individuals. Suffolk County Police say 44-year-old Stephen Brown.
It's actually pronounced Suffolk, not Suffolk. But yeah, 44-year-old Stephen Brown, 38-year-old Jeff Mackey, 40-year-old Amanda Wallace, 33-year-old Alexis Nieves, charged with concealment.
38-year-old Jeffrey Mackey, 40-year-old Amanda Wallace, and 33-year-old Alexis Nieves were charged with concealment of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and hindering prosecution. They have not been charged with murder. Prosecutors told a judge there was so much blood in the pipes, sink, shower, and toilet of the Railroad Avenue home in Amityville, where the suspects were arrested, that it
crazy stuff happens in Amityville. There was even a movie called The Amityville Horror. Crazy stuff.
was deemed uninhabitable. Police said they confiscated meat cleavers, butcher knives, flesh, and body parts. Attorneys for Brown and Mackey admitted that their clients lived in that home where the body parts and all that blood was found, but denied chopping up the 59-year-old woman and 53-year-old man whose last known address was in Yonkers. Wallace also lived with Brown and Mackey in Amityville. Police said that Knives is homeless. Okay, all 4 pleaded not guilty. The judge released them without bail. They were fitted with GPS monitoring and must report in person.
Released without bail in this butcher shop. They're found in a butcher shop with flesh and so much pipe. Unbelievable amounts of blood in the pipes. Wow. Released without bail. Go. Everything's fine here.
For in-person probation and surrender their passports.
I don't care about their passports.
Dude, guys, like what? Okay, so did further research because I just couldn't believe it. Here's more. With 2019 state reforms, mutilation and disposal of murdered corpses are among crimes that are no longer bail eligible. The DA said the 4 went to barbaric lengths to cover the crime. What are we doing? Cenk? What are we doing? Someone tell me, what the F are we doing?
Yeah, look, no one signed up for this.
She's leaning in there. She all leaning in there. What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm not on the left anymore. Oh my God.
I don't know how the hell any of these laws passed. I went to every progressive conference there was over the last 20 years. I never heard a single person saying, why don't we let the actual criminals go? Hey, if
because they don't say that out loud, you moron. If anything, if everyone says that's what you're doing, you're like, oh no, that's not at all what we're doing. You deny it. You deny the obvious implications of the policies that you are continually pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And when anyone else says, what are you pushing here? Like, you're pushing craziness. You're like, oh, conspiracy theorists, conspiracy theorists, conspiracy theorists. That's not what we're saying. Yeah, because you don't say that out loud. It's just obvious where it's going.
Someone butchers someone and chops them up into little pieces. Let's do the kind of criminal justice reform where they would be able to walk out free.
Yeah, come at me right now and tell me I'm the bad guy because I want these people who dismembered corpses and tried to conceal the evidence in prison. Come at me and tell me I'm the bad guy. Come at me.
I don't look, guys.
Insane. You guys are insane. Anyone who thinks this is okay is insane. And everyone else in New York has to suffer the consequences of this with random bag checks at the subway by National Guard troops.
She said it. She said if
there you go. Thank you, Liberal Hyman, for sharing that with me and his audience there. Yeah. She's steadily being red pilled. Steadily being red pilled. I got one more lefty who's getting sick of the left, more specifically with Biden. Is Trump going to lose his buildings or not? I don't know. This is so impossible. We're in such unprecedented territory with this decision of the $450 million that I can't. No one can predict what's going to happen here. No one can predict what's going to happen. People can guess, but I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe they get an expedited order of a turnover. I don't know. You have to realize also losing your building is not a permanent thing necessarily. I mean, if it's sold off, it's a permanent thing. But usually that's a process. When you're talking about judgment foreclosure, that's a process which normally takes years, like years to happen. Years. Like it's difficult to imagine it happening, I don't know, during his lifetime, especially if he wins and is put on hold during his presidency, which it very well could be. Who the heck knows where this is going to happen? OKC Rebel says that's the established difference between violent and nonviolent. Nonviolent should have rights restored. Violent shouldn't. I'm totally on board with that. Totally on board with that. 14th Amendment, Section 1 is your best argument against gun right for non-citizens. You're very fixated on the wording here, as opposed to on the wording of where it says militia, whether it says citizen, whether it says specifically citizen in the preamble. You're getting very caught up in the wording, and I'm telling you fundamentally and philosophically, principally, what this makes sense. What makes sense? Everything I expressed about the nature of what our government should be just philosophically sound. And you want to try and tell me that like I need to hang it on something? Yeah, I mean, if I was trying to win in court, I would far prefer to find language that supports it rather than just saying this makes sense. That's not the nature of this dialogue here. The nature of dialogue is philosophically what makes sense. You want me to try and present the legal argument? So yeah, okay. You want to go to the Section 1 of the 14th Amendment? Okay. Maybe we could do 2A and rights discussion on playback since we can join the stage. Perhaps. It's not a bad idea at all. Not a bad idea. I'd be happy to have you on and talk with you about it. All right. So I gave you two stories. Two stories here of lefties, of the culture turning against the left. One more. This wasn't it. Dang it. Where are This also is from Liberal Hive Mind. He finds good stuff.
A Smith camp.
According to Henninger, the newest buzzword in politics is lawfare, or using the legal system as a weapon against a political opponent. Henninger questions how many lawsuits, court motions, and judgments against Donald Trump the Democratic Party can actually chow down on. He also ponders about the high price the American system may pay for all of this in excess. Let me tell you something. It was a great opinion piece. I completely agree with Daniel Henninger of the Wall Street Journal.
Now, this is a guy who does not like Trump. He does not like Trump.
The opinion piece that he wrote in there, because we've got to get to a point where we're saying when's enough's enough. Donald Trump made a very
a Liberal Hive Mind. Yeah, he's very good. He's very good. He's actually someone who inspired me to create a channel. I was like, this kid just basically just reads the news and just talks for like a couple of minutes, and that's what he does for a living. I was like, I could totally do that. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Liberal Hive Mind. I was following him before he had 100,000 subs, and now he's like at 1.8 million or something.
Salient point. I know you don't hear me say that often, but it's true. He made a very salient point a couple of weeks ago, or I think it was in the immediate aftermath of Super Tuesday, when he was talking about President Biden, and he was saying, you know, come beat me. Stop trying to use the legal system in order to pull it off. Now, obviously, President Biden would say, yeah,
you give him a sports analogy of come beat me. That's gonna appeal to Stephen A. Smith. If you're not familiar with who Stephen A. Smith is, it just means you don't follow ESPN or any of these, you know, sports talk stations. But he's pretty big in that circuit, which means he is a pretty sizable. He's been doing it for 2 decades at least, so he has a pretty sizable audience. And here he is preaching to his audience that this whole policy of using lawfare against Trump is for losers.
Has nothing to do with me. He's the president of the United States. He's not the prosecution in Georgia. He's not the prosecutor in New York. Okay, he has nothing to do with those things. So he may say, maybe it's true. But I find it very, very difficult to believe that everybody on the Democratic side is innocent. I mean, when you look at the inordinate amount of charges that are coming Trump's way, I mean, when is enough's enough? Ladies and gentlemen, there's so much to get into. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to simply say this. Trump is kicking the Democrats, you know what. And we're still waiting for him to go to jail. We're still waiting for him because supposedly he's done so much. Russian collusion, remember all of that? We're still waiting for we're still waiting for the guilty verdict. We're still waiting for him to be incarcerated. We're still waiting for him to be seen in zebra stripes. You can't touch him. And now he's throwing this salvo. He said, yo, why don't you come beat me? Stop engaging in lawfare and using the legal system to push your political agenda.
You see, Trump knows language that's going to appeal to people like Stephen A. Smith. Come beat me. That's something he can respect. He can understand that. You can understand that. Come beat me. Stop trying to use lawfare. Come beat me. And I'm telling you, this guy, you know, is he's a huge fan of St. Barack. He's a real lefty, this guy. He's a real lefty. He's got a massive audience. And he's kicking your butt because you look like, transparently, a bunch of freaking loser cowards.
Come beat me. That's what he did. Listen, I do sports most of the time. That's the kind of language we want to hear, ain't it? Can you beat him or not? You gonna beat him? 4 different polls show that Joe Biden is trailing, that Trump is gaining momentum. You can look at the right and talk about their commitment to Biden's cognitive decline narrative. The fact of the matter is, in half of America's eyes, Trump is seen as damn near criminal. And he's still collecting more campaign dollars and more votes. This article is a very profound one. The high price of Democrats' anti-Trump lawfare, because when the legal system is utilized this way and people see you getting away with trying to cause all of this ruckus towards him, as opposed to simply beating him at the polls, that gives them additional fodder to question the legal system. And once they do that, it gives them a significant license to be lawless and to engage in lawlessness, which will explain some of the mayhem and the nonsense we've been seeing in the streets of America that would have never been tolerated, even as late and as recently as Barack Obama being in office.
Or Trump being in office. Now, I personally think Stephen A. Smith is an idiot. Okay? I mean, forget about politics. I think when it comes to sports, the dude's an idiot. That's my personal opinion. I think he's like basically, you know, it's like I think that he's kind of like 2 steps, maybe a step and a half ahead of AOC on the intellectual charts. That's so yeah. I mean, he just heard of the term lawfare. Like, oh wow, what an interesting word, lawfare. But bottom line is that's what he's spreading. That's what he's waking up and realizing. Even this Nimrod is waking up and recognizing that Trump is way more based than anything the left is offering today. So you see these liberals for Trump, Anna Kasparian, even friggin' Stephen A. Smith. I don't know how much more of a white pill I can give you. How much more of a white pill can I give you? But the red pill, doses of red pill are just going around. And you get a red pill, and you get a red pill, and you get a red pill. Oh, so good. So good. So good. Did I cover everything? I covered a lot. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. What I got here? I got to gun rights. I got to the culture. I didn't get to Jordan Peterson meeting Destiny. I was going to watch. Initially, when I made the thumbnail for this, it literally was just Jordan Peterson and Destiny. I was like, oh, wait. Before I wrap up the week, there's so many different important topics I need to talk about with my audience. So let me get that out of the way first. And then I'll spend the last hour and a half talking about, watching some video of Destiny, who was, I guess, meeting or debating Jordan. I don't even know. I was like, he does a really nice job of breaking down into segments. But yes, seriously, Master Phillips, I have no idea. Who is. I was wondering the same thing. I was like, I can't for the life of me. Get like, it's like, I can't figure out how these bookings happen. You saying it was a good interview? What do you mean? Do what? What am I supposed to do? You think I wouldn't be happy to debate anyone? Anyone. I don't care. Give me Cenk Uygur. I don't care. Give me anyone. I mean, David Pakman, Destiny. I've already debated Destiny. Man, his agent must be amazing. Amazing. I would love to debate any of these folks. So, yes, we do. I need an agent. Anyway. I think that's my show for tonight. Maybe I'll end up watching some of the Destiny. This is what I'll do. I need to get another playback in tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be on playback. So I need to get another playback in tomorrow. And next week I'm probably going to do Sunday. So I do want to give you a heads up on this. I plan on streaming Saturday night. Sunday is Purim. A lot of you probably aware that on Purim, I do a lot of drinking and streaming. Is that going to happen this year? Maybe. Sunday is Purim. Usually after Purim ends, I'm somewhat intoxicated, and that's when I stream, usually wearing costume because we dress up in costume for the holiday of Purim. So I will be in costume on Sunday in spirit of the holiday of Purim. this year, the whole Purim festival meal where we do the drinking, that's normally next door to my house by my sister, is going to be like an hour drive away. And trust me, there was a lot of, let's just call it discussion, where I was not pleased. I'll just put it this way. I was not pleased with the way the discussion ended. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to bend. Family sometimes is more important. So I had to bend to my family on this issue. Now, the impact that this may have on my ability to stream on Sunday night when I'm still drunk and all that other stuff, as far as what's going to happen with that, I don't know. I don't know what's going to be Sunday night. I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to come on here in costume. I don't know if I'm going to be heaving. I don't know what's going to be. Because frankly, I drink to like I get pretty roaring drunk on Purim. And normally, I have a good time coming on and stream when I get roaring drunk. That's what I've done the last 2 years. That's where we had the Blue Genie. And then last year, I was a sunflower last year. So, and yeah, I'm going to be wearing costume on Sunday. I just don't know if the stream's going to happen. We'll see. Anyhow. But I do plan on being here Saturday night. So I will see you that. And I also plan on doing a playback tomorrow. I'm also going to be on Layback Law. While you're here, if you could please like, share, subscribe, leave comments in the algorithms, because the algorithms seem to really, really love the comments, and do all that good stuff. And that applies whether you're on YouTube, you're on Rumble, you're in the ghetto, wherever you are. Wherever you are. Wherever you are. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody here. I don't want nobody to be mad at me when I'm closing up for the weekend. All right. Thing good there. Thing good here. And need to get on a casting couch. Not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. All right. So you saw my little guy there. He told you what to do. Go run, jump, and hit the subscribe button and the like and all that other good stuff. I will see you on playback tomorrow. If you don't end up following me over there, shame on you, but I get it. But if you can join me there, I think we'll have a good time. Probably going to end up doing some Destiny. Maybe I'll bring some people up to argue with me, Allegan News, about like the whole philosophical thing. I really am curious, about your different positions. I don't know if people agree with my position as far as there being a contract and that's what the Constitution is. That's my take on it. But I'm just one man. I just happen to be smarter than most. So with that, I thank you all for joining me. I hope you have an amazing weekend. If you're celebrating the holiday of Purim, I hope you have a phenomenal Purim. And I will see you on playback tomorrow. Then I'll see you Saturday night. And then God only knows where else. Love to all. Good night, my friends. Stay happy. No matter what they tell you, they're lying to you. You don't want to do it. Do not eat the bugs. Eat the bugs. As always, my friends, good night. Godspeed.